Hello there. I am Michael Gira of the musical group Swans, and you are listening to the Capsule podcast on liveinlimbo.com.
This is Capsule on liveinlimbo.com. My name is Sean Chin.
And I am Andreas Babiolakis. This is an audio experience where we take you on an adventure into music, film, and pop culture.
After 3 decades of challenging music, of which remains entirely humanistic in nature, Swans have returned to the music scene in around 2010 and have created 3 albums, each earning more acclaim than the last. With their 2014 release To Be Kind, they continue on this track with high praise from the likes of NME, Spin, and Pitchfork.
Today, Swans are bigger than ever, and we are privileged to have founding member Michael Gira with us today. Thank you, and good morning. How are you?
I'm bigger than ever.
Absolutely.
Oh, you got a guitar there too.
Yeah, I've been doodling on the guitar all day.
That's fantastic.
Hey, well, thank you for your inquisition.
Oh, absolutely, and it's all true words. I mean, To Be Kind's being an absolute pleasure to listen to time after time again.
Oh, that's the goal. I'm glad to hear that it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. And
an ordeal, as many people describe it.
Oh, now who would describe it as that?
Most people, I believe.
Well, I disagree highly, and I think a lot of people are on my side. I mean,
yeah, we strongly disagree.
Absolutely. You have the needle drop, which is very specific in giving good ratings, and Anthony Fantano from that site's only given his second perfect rating ever, and that's for
Is that guy on YouTube?
Yep,
that is him.
That's amazing. I despite his misguided accolades, I find him really entertaining. Is that a popular venue?
It's a very popular venue. A lot of people who search for music online go through Anthony Fantano. So
yeah, that's kind of very innovative. I guess are there a lot of other people that do that sort of thing, or
there are a lot of people, but the problem is it's kind of music. It's kind of like music now, where there's just so many people fighting at once, and not many people make it out alive. So very few of them get really popular, but a lot of people are doing it.
What does he do for a day job?
Oh,
that's a good
question. We don't know that. Everyone wants to know that.
He's probably a barista, huh?
Oh, he could be. I'm pretty sure he's in a band. He runs his own website outside of YouTube. The same deal, Needle Drop. I don't know if he gets a lot of money from that. Sorry?
You should interview him.
It's a good.
I'll try message him. I think he's got like a lot of people wanting to interview him, though.
I should interview him.
Yeah, you should be the interviewer.
There you go. I think you'd go crazy because, like I said, he gave To Be Kind a perfect rating, and he loved this year as well.
Well, that's great. I'm sure he has a tremendous breadth of knowledge, so that's flattering.
Absolutely, and he actually has a video titled "I Saw Swans Live," and it's just about him freaking out about how he saw you guys live and how amazing it was, how great of an experience.
Andres, you gave what did you give his album? You gave it a pretty high rating as well.
The highest rating of the year so far, absolutely.
That's right. 9.2 out of 10, right?
No, 9.7.
Right?
9.7.
9 toes.
9 toes, exactly. I'm not just saying that because obviously I'm interviewing you right now. Otherwise, I'd have to have lied to everybody I've interviewed. But no, absolutely. I've been a Swans fan for a really long time. And To Be Kind is, which you don't find with a lot of artists, because a lot of artists will go on for 3 decades and then their work will get worse in comparison, but To Be Kind's easily one of your strongest albums, one of Swans' strongest albums, and it's absolutely incredible.
Thank you. I'm completely nonplussed. I'm going to be working on. I'm more interested in the new things right now, but I'm happy to hear that this one has received some response, that people enjoy it, that people can use it in their lives.
Absolutely. And you are pretty quick with working on new material, because a lot of music from To Be Kind's been playing live for a number of years now. So what do you have up your sleeve? Do you have another album ideal already, or?
Yeah, sort of. Well, this I don't know. About half the material on that record was developed, or not was developed, but did develop over the period of a year of during the last year's touring. And now we have three new pieces. I don't think they deserve to be called songs, but three new pieces that we're playing in our set. They're each about 15 minutes long.
Nice.
They're kind of growing. I like to say metastasizing. And then our set is, we're also playing two songs from the record, which is unusual for us, but that's mainly because I don't have any other new songs.
Absolutely.
We're playing two songs from the record and then one old thing. And
Nice.
anyway, so I don't know what I'm saying at all.
No, that's fine. You spend a considerable amount of time creating your tracks, and then you find the time to finally fine-tune them. How do you know when it's right?
It's never right.
It's never right. Oh, so has there ever been something that you released and then afterwards you felt like it was not good enough?
Everything I've ever released has not been good enough. That's for sure.
So it's an evolution, and you're always continuing to perfect the next one.
You know, the thing that's important to me is it's like this ball of energy that you're just spinning in your hands, and it just keeps changing shape. And I guess the thing is to just keep the ball of energy moving. Like, you know, the song will start often, not always, but often on acoustic guitar here with myself. And that's one stage, and I'm singing it, and I think, oh, that's brilliant. That's really going to be a good song. And then I play it the next day, and it completely sucks. Or I'll take it to the band and start to play it, and it just sounds terrible through an amplifier. And it'll change then again. And then I'll start to work on it with the band, and it'll just sound amazing to my ears and possibly everybody's ears in the band. And then we'll play it live, and it'll completely suck. And then we'll work on it the next day and change it again. And then even during performance, it'll start to change, and it just keeps growing and changing. And then perhaps we record it, and then I realize the recording of it sounds completely abysmal, and so I do all these overdubs, and it changes into something else, and then it's finished and released as a record, and then we perform it live or not, and then just move on to something else. And just sort of how it is. I don't ever look at it as being an accomplishment or a finished thing.
Right, and you can definitely see this in the work of Swans as a collective discography, because you'll see earlier releases like Filth sounding nothing like your 90s material, and then you have Soundtracks for the Blind, which at the time seemed like it was like Swans' biggest release, but now you've got two other albums that are in competition with being as grandiose as, of course, you've got The Seer and you've got To Be Kind, which are
some might say in competition as being equally pompous.
Right. Right. They're as grand as Soundtracks for the Blind. You've got The Seer and you've got To Be Kind. Did you get a lot of influence for these two albums from what you achieved with Soundtracks for the Blind? Like, was it you trying to take that formula again, or?
When I reconstituted this band, this name, and gathered these individuals, I knew that the starting point was one of the starting points, I suppose, was going to be where things left off with Soundtracks for the Blind.
Right.
So that is a fair assessment. I don't think this music sounds like that, but it just in the sense of the trajectory of how the songs, pieces, whatever, how they work might be related to those. But the actual sound, the sonic quality of them isn't similar, really.
Right. No, it's very contrasting in sound, because The Seer is much more abrasive than both of those albums. And no, it's just the pacing, the way that songs grow, the climaxing, all of that. It's just very similar to Soundtracks for the Blind, except obviously very different in nature entirely.
Yeah. So that was, I guess I took a detour when I did Angels of Light, but there's some of that in there too now. That's obviously informed. This music is what I experienced or learned with that group. So,
absolutely, it seems like with these two newest releases this year and To Be Kind, you find a little bit of everything Swans has done. The heaviness, the orchestration, just like the softer moments. It seems like everything could be found within these two albums, which I think is why it resonates the most with fans. And I believe these two albums are the ones that have catapulted you the most into the mainstream, or not the mainstream per se, but to the widest audiences.
Yeah, it's strange, It just makes me want to pull down my pants in a bank and, diddle myself.
Absolutely. What do you think makes To Be Kind click with audiences? You were saying that a lot of audiences, or not audiences, but a lot of people didn't really click with it, but that's perhaps because a lot of these people are getting to know Swans for the first time, obviously with sites like Enemy, Pitchfork, and The Needle Drop. They're getting exposure to Swans for the first time. But for those who really enjoy this album, which most critical publications adore this album, what do you think clicks with them the most?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a social analyst or commentator. I suppose it's good music. I think that in the past, maybe our sound was, or the things we were doing in Swans were just too much for people, And I guess now with the pervasive quality of the internet and all the information that's out there, those that have an inclination towards this kind of thing have discovered it. And maybe it just was a kind of snowball effect from there.
I think that's very true too. Like this time with technology, this is probably the perfect time for you guys. You guys were definitely ahead of your time then.
Yeah, I don't know about. We're definitely not right for our time.
Yeah. Now you are. Last year, you participated in an interview at your studio in New York with Fader TV. In that video, I noticed a large poster of Jimi Hendrix in your rehearsal area. Do you have any significant memories about him, or how does he inspire you?
Oh, well, that's not our. We don't own that studio. We just rent it. And,
okay.
Those are posters that are there. But I grew up in the 60s, so I listened to the first Jimi Hendrix record on acid. So that's how it, when it came out. So that's how it
That's the best
me.
way to listen to it, right?
That was incredible.
Of course, I listened to that stuff obsessively. I loved it.
And you're a big Pink Floyd fan as well.
Up to a certain point, yes.
Up to a certain point. Where's that cutoff point?
I would say metal, and then the two soundtracks, Obscured by Clouds and what is the other one? Zabriskie Point, I think.
Right.
No, it's not Zabriskie Point. It's another one. Those are quite beautiful as well. There's some really nice songs on them. Umaguma and metal, I like. After that, I'm really not into, the big prog records just are not for me at all. Absolutely,
because there's big difference in a lot of Pink Floyd albums.
Well, the early things were truly, kind of experimental psychedelic music, and it was really all-consuming kind of experiential music, particularly live. And that's an entirely different thing than the kind of codified spectacle that they developed.
Yeah, there's a very divisive audience between those who like Syd Barrett's kind of work and then those who prefer when.
Well, I'm not particularly an aficionado of Syd Barrett per se. I like it up through metal, and that's a great record, and he's nothing to do with that.
Absolutely, he was only there for like the first two, right?
Yeah.
No, metal is really good. Actually.
Really, just the one. I think he's only on one song on the second one.
No, I believe you're right. I don't know. I don't know too much about earlier Pink Floyd. I'm more into, like as you said, metal, and I like Animal or
Adam Hart Mother.
That's a good album, actually. Yeah, I was trying to think of that one.
It's just a couple unfortunate forays into orchestration, full orchestras, but some of it's good.
Absolutely. Are there any current musicians that you've found interesting at all, or?
Yeah, sure. I can't remember them whenever I'm asked this question, though.
Oh, you asked it a lot, I guess.
Well, we ask because you're performing at Yonge and Dundas Square as part of the amazing North by Northeast lineup on Friday, June 20th. And then after, you're doing a whole bunch of US and European tour dates. But you're held as one of the main attractions of the event along with St. Vincent.
Oh, well, she's wonderful,
Yeah. And
she's completely out of my world and my league, I should say.
Oh, wow.
She's completely different world of music, but I admire her and respect her tremendously.
How did you get together with her to for the To Be Kind album? And how do you know who's a perfect fit?
She was recommended by the engineer who worked on this record, John Congleton, who's her co-producer, I believe, of all her records. And I'm always on the lookout for excellent female singers because I like to utilize the female voice in the music. I guess maybe to leaven the kind of poisonous testosterone count in the music. But so I was, I investigated her on his suggestion and discovered her voice, and obviously it's a great thing indeed. And when she came to the studio, I was totally blown away by her facility as a singer and a musician, and it was great to have her on the record. I didn't use her adequately, probably, in terms of like highlighting her personality, but I'm kind of a film director in that way. I wanted her to fill a certain role in the music, so that's what I did. But she did a great job, and I think she's great. Absolutely. Oh, I thought of a group that I admire. Speaking of strong women, that would be Savages. Do you know that group?
Oh, absolutely. Savages are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great. We have sort of a mutual admiration society. Run into each other on tour a couple times, and yeah, I think they're really great.
Would you want to work with members of Savages at all on maybe your next release?
I hadn't thought of that.
Maybe one day. I mean, like you've worked with Karen O on this year.
Yeah, that's great. I had this sort of fairy tale or children's lullaby kind of song, and when I tried to sing it, it just sounded like some old wino mumbling to himself on the street. So I knew it needed a really good female voice, and my bass player Chris Pravdika is a friend of hers, and he suggested I listen to her solo material. I'd heard, of course, the Yes, but and I discovered that she has this great kind of almost like a mother's voice singing songs to her baby. When she sings solo, and it's just very tender and wonderful, and it fit that song perfectly.
Absolutely. Are there any female musicians that you see yourself wanting to work with on these new albums or on these new tracks that you see taking shape? Or
I haven't thought of that yet, but thank you for reminding me. I should
soon.
Write down some names, right?
All right, Michael. Thank you for joining us. Where can all of our listeners find you online?
Oh, well, they can go to the Swans Facebook page, I suppose, or to younggodrecords.com.
That's right. That's facebook.com/swansofficial. And you yourself, you use Facebook quite a bit, right?
Yeah, they can look me up there if they want.
That's facebook.com/mgira. Yeah,
MGIRA. But I wouldn't encourage that one necessarily. I think the Swans one is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, they're virtually identical. I don't talk about personal things on my Facebook page.
You're smarter than I am.
Yeah, you're smart.
Well, there's been a couple of drunk postings, I should admit, but I immediately erased them.
Uh-oh. You were sober enough to know that it was wrong, and then you deleted it, so that's good. All right, thank you, Michael.
It's unwise to put anything personal on Facebook. I think it's kind of counterintuitive, but I think it's the last place on earth you should put anything personal.
I wish I thought of that before.
Yeah, that's so smart. It's too late for some of us now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Michael, for joining us.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your interest very much.
Thank you very much.
You can follow myself on Twitter at Sean Chin.
And myself at Andreas Babs.
You can follow this show at Live in Limbo and use the hashtag Capsule Podcast to join in on the conversation. Please subscribe to us on iTunes. And as always, you can find the show notes at liveinlimbo.com/capsule. Take care.
Have a good one.